Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame and Cinnamon Sugar, and I am on my way to go run some errands. Just got off work. I had a great day at work today. I don't even know. I feel like I was set up to have an amazing day for tomorrow because the side heifer and I will have to work together in the new department with her partner. She just changed her schedule to work like Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays because her fiance is working like swing shifts and all this stuff now. And yeah, she claims that she wants to be present when the children are getting on the bus and all that stuff. But I'm like, well, apparently somebody else gonna do it on Fridays because you're gonna be at work, so that doesn't make sense. And it still doesn't make sense because people have still been having to work over and work on days that they aren't supposed to work. Everybody has been assigned that are working the 3 days a week, 12-hour shifts. So unless her FMLA has been renewed, she's gonna have to come to work or risk getting fired. Yeah. Essentially, she's gonna be working at least 5 days. At least. Especially as she works her way back up the rotation list. Like, her new schedule literally just started. It's gonna start officially tonight. So yeah. Anyway, forget all that. I'm focusing on the amazing day I had today. So let me tell you what happened. Okay, so the dude that introduced himself to me the other day, he rolled up on me. It was like, hi, good morning, how you doing? I was like, I'm fine, how are you? So, he already smiling. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here you go. You're already smiling. And so it's like he lived for me to say the little stuff I be saying to him, right? So I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep my eye on you. So we had our little exchanges throughout the day. At one point in time, I know I saw him just come back from break. So I'm looking like, where he coming from? He coming back up the stairs. So I said, where do you think you're coming from? Who do you think you're supposed to be? Or whatever, right? And so he was like, oh, I went for a walk. And so I looked at him sideways like, what you mean? Like, what you mean you went for a walk? That don't make no sense. Your whole area is operational. What is we talking about? So he was like, oh, no, earlier something happened and we weren't operational, so I went for a walk. So I was just like, okay, y'all. So then, like, I noticed something that was on him earlier, and I was like, why do you have two of those? It's like two items that we're only supposed to have one, but for some reason he had two, and I'm looking like, why he got two of these? So he was like, I don't know, I guess because they expect a lot out of me and they know I'm going to be capable of doing it. And I was like, you know what? You know what? I ain't got time for this. Like, don't do this. So I'm dying laughing. He laughing. And I'm like, you know what, sir? I ain't got time for you. I don't understand what is going on here because I said somebody had to have made a mistake. Why do you have two of those? Oh, gold is rain about to make me go to sleep. I ain't did my recap reviews. Lord. Oh my gosh. So, but yeah, this boy got me laughing. I'm like, what is wrong with him? So then he sees me like when we cross paths after his first break, and I'm going to my first break. So he was like, hey, so what I meant to say was, no, this was me going to lunch and he was coming back from lunch. So he was like, oh, what happened was I thought that we weren't operational. So I just walked away and took a walk, and then I came back. But it was just for 5 minutes. Because I was like, well, how long was the walk? He was like, oh, it was just for like 5 minutes. I was like, oh, okay. Well, you didn't leave your partner stranded too long. He was like, oh, yeah. Because at first he kind of tried to make it seem like he felt bad about it. And I was like, that was just 5 minutes. Like, you good? Because I just saw him, so I was like, where in the world is he coming from? Wait a minute, sir. Y'all don't understand. I was like, you good? Because I rolled right up on him. He was in the middle of talking to somebody else. And I rolled up on him with my hands on my hips, and I was like, who do you think you are that you could just walk away? Like, I be trying him on purpose. I be trying him. Okay, so all the interactions with him were hilarious, and he got his entire life as usual. So tell me why I went on my last break, and my friend that I met at the job that he was at for 10 years, I told him, I said, oh, I made a new friend. He was like, you made a new friend? What new friend did you make? He was like, oh, Lord, what new friend did you make? And I told him. He was like, oh, you know, he used to work at that job we worked at. I was like, yeah, he told me he worked there for 10 years, but I don't remember. He was like, you don't ever remember nobody. Anybody I asked you about, you almost don't ever remember, which is a lie, because he told me about several people today, and I remembered almost every single last one of them. But anyway, so I was like, no. I don't remember him. He was like, he was there. I was like, well, excuse me. I was like, well, he told me that he was working first shift most of the time when he was there, and at one point in time he did second shift. And when we did it, when he and I were there, we were working like second shift, and he had already been full time at the job that we are at now, my friend. And I don't know how briefly he worked at the place that the other guy worked at, but yeah, he was like, well, I worked first shift there for a while, and then whatever, because he's been at this place, he's literally been at this place over 10 years, my friend. So that's awesome. But anyway, he was like, you don't ever know nobody. I was like, everybody that I saw didn't look anything like him. I would have remembered him had I seen him. So, you know, if nothing else, I feel like I would have waved to him and he would have waved back. All the dudes that did the job that he did, all of them that I remembered that were younger, they all had locks. Every single last one of them. So I'm like, he was like, oh, okay. I was like, they had locks and they were darker than him. And so he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah. There go, the young dude's mama's house. So he took me to his mama's house one day just for me to see it. I didn't go inside. She was at work at the time. And she had already actually told me that I should meet them over there one day. And I was like, no. And the way he described it, it seemed like it was going to be out of the way, hard for me to find and all of that. So I was like, nah, I'm good. But yeah, he ended up taking me over there one day. And now I know where she lived. Like, as long as it's right here, that's the only way that I will really remember how to get there. I will be able to remember how to get to her house from right here. It's so easy. It's right there. The way he tried to take me that's closer to where I live, I was like, no, I'm not going to remember this. I would have to put her actual address in a GPS in order to find where she lived. Anyway, y'all. So, the young dude got his life. He got his life all day. He kept on looking at me all throughout. I kept catching him, watching me all throughout the day. I'm like, child. So anyway, while my friend and I were talking, I was talking to him. I talked to him my entire break because I really wasn't going to do nothing except, you know, search online. I'm window shopping. I've already done some Prime shopping that I wanted to do. I got a couple of the items that I wanted. So I'm window shopping right now until I can find certain things in particular. And I was like, well, I ain't doing nothing. And I saw him. I came to just speak. But then we ended up talking. And I'm like, wait a minute. What is going on right here? So he asked me about the stalker that I had. The one that I told y'all about. For those of y'all who've been around for a while, this particular stalker is the one who he used to work at the first job that I ever had when I first moved to Virginia. And he randomly saw me on the street one day when I was about to get some stuff out of my trunk, and he pulled up directly behind me, and I'm looking like, what we not finna do with this? Like, and I politely said to myself, because at the time the car that I had was a big vehicle, and my snow shovel is a humongous, like right now it's in my back seat. It takes up the entire floorboard of my back seat. And so I was like, what I'm not finna do is this. Boy, don't look up in my car. Y'all, I'm sorry. These people be trying me. And like in this car, it's significantly smaller. The other car, it was just in my trunk, and I still had room to do it. Put it in there. I could put bodies and everything else up in that mug. But yeah, so I was like, if this man stepped foot out of this truck, I'm going upside his head with this snow shovel, and I'm gonna hope that he fall in the street and that somebody run him over, because this man really is crazy. And so he was like, you told me about him. And his cousin ended up telling him about him too. So I was like, y'all know I'm not making it up. I'm not crazy. Because this man really used to try to test my gangster all the time. And I just used to be like, I don't understand why you keep taking it upon yourself to worry about me and create these scenarios in your mind as if I'm interested in you when I'm not. I don't be understanding. I don't understand. And so apparently, he never told me this until now. Apparently, this man said something to his cousin like, oh, well, I'm going to come over to that job and whatever. Talking about he going to come over to where we currently work. Now, he doesn't know I work there. I have not seen him since I've been working at this job. And he doesn't, so that means he does not ever see the logo. Meaning, it's just clear, it's very clear as day where I work if he were to see my logo. Especially when it's a time when I ain't got no coat on. Oh no. So yeah. But he done said, he made threats like, oh, I'm gonna come over there and whatever. And like he said something slick about my friend. Y'all, when I tell y'all everybody live for my friend, everybody. If you don't live for him, something got to be wrong with you. So he over here talking crazy. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, he over here talking about he gonna do this, that, and the other. He was like, well, come on then. Tell him I said, come on in. And he never showed up because he said he was prepared. Because there have been other people who they have heard some stuff about them prior to them getting there that made them have a reason to have pause. Because it's like, wait a minute. We heard you got some stuff going on with you. Like you got some stalking going on or something. What's wrong with you? And so they were doing like extensive background checks and all of that. So, and I straight up told him, like, listen, y'all, everybody and their mama was like kind of around the corner and overheard me, and I don't care. I'm sorry. I got very passionate, and I said, if that man would have came here and I was working here like I currently am, if I would have stomped that man out, I would still have my job. Because I'm trying to tell y'all, I would have done everybody an amazing service. I would have done everybody an amazing service. Y'all would have been happy because y'all don't understand what this man be up to. And I straight up told him, I was like, he done sat up here. He has gotten arrested for domestic violence, violence against his family, public intoxication, like very violent, like crimes most of the time. And I'm just like, you think I'm finna sit up here just because he has a decent resume? Because there are people who are able to keep decent jobs. And you know, they actually come to work like they're supposed to come and all this other stuff, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer and all of them. And it's like, just because he got that going on, you think I'm going to see him and I'm going to be like, oh, okay, well, it's all right. No. I was like, no. I only had to tolerate the possibility of him for 4 hours when I was at that part-time job for a couple of months. And I already knew that contract was going to end. So I was just like, we don't work together. We don't do the same stuff. But he would take it upon himself to come from out of nowhere and do little stuff. And I just be like, I used to have to just tell myself like this, don't do it. You almost about, and like when he would do it, it would be almost time for me to get off. I would have like less than 3 hours left. I would be at least halfway through the shift when he would come out of nowhere and try me. He already would be staring at me as soon as I came in the door. They would have some kind of meeting like when we were leaving out. And so he would make a point to be as close to the clocks that I would clock out at, but still be at his meeting so he could get a full-on view of me walking out the door. Like, why? Like, I told him straight up, I said, if that man would have came in here, better not nobody say nothing to me when I stomp him out. I'm stomping him out. Like, my friend dying laughing. I said, I am dead serious. You don't understand. You do not understand. Some people need a bullet to stop. This man has a record a mile long because he is crazy. And I just be like, how y'all keep hiring this man and he trash like this? What is going on? I don't be understanding. But anyway, so we had a good conversation, and I was talking to him. Oh, he kept asking me. He asked me about my friend, and he called her Daisy, and I was like, who is Daisy? He was like, you know, the one who got the little baby. And I'm like, and so I thought about it, and I said my friend's name. He was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I was like, oh, you know, that's the divorced man's cousin. And he was like, who? I said, you know, the divorced man. And so, you know, I'm obviously saying his actual name. He was like, what's his last name? I was like, the same last name as hers. And so then I brought up the fact that when we were all working at that place, that I came to his cousin, who he is like the best of friends with. They're like best friends. And I said to her, I was like, I think y'all are related. Because they had, like, a lot of her relatives have her exact last name. And I'm like, I think y'all can. And so I told both of them that I think that they're related, and so they never really checked into it, but I think they are related. But I said something to him about it today. He was like, yeah, I think they are related because they are from, like, the same areas and all that stuff, even though nobody checked into it. I was like, yeah. So, like, we had a good old conversation. Child, tell me why. I don't even think it had to have been, like, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours into the shift. My partner came upstairs. Now, keep in mind, today, I think, is his last day of the work week because he's taking off. Either he's taking off starting Saturday or he's taking off starting tomorrow. And I think he has it set up where tomorrow is his first day off. Then he's taking off another day, Saturday, so they can't try to draft him and be like, oh, well, you were here today, so we got you up there assigning you to work. So yesterday was his actual birthday. I didn't know that. I only didn't know that because, like, every time he has mentioned his birthday, like, he don't make a big fuss about it. And so I was just like, well, dang. So I read him when he first came in because somebody asked him where was he going before we had our meeting. And so I made a point to bring up that he over here had the audacity to be taken off, right? And so he was like, man, I deserve to take off. He was like, it's my birthday. I was like, you need to work through your birthday. He was like, well, I did work through my birthday. And so I didn't catch that at first. So when he came upstairs, we was talking. And so when he first approached me, he gonna lie, talking about some, yeah, downstairs, they said y'all doing a terrible job and y'all need to do this, that, and the other. And I was like, well, I ain't put no more effort in that I'm already putting in. So they gonna get what they get. And he was like, huh? And we started laughing. So anyway, we talking. What is in my pocket? Jesus. Oh, okay. So we started talking, and so that's when he started telling me that his birthday was yesterday. I was like, oh. So I remembered that he said something about his birthday. I'm thinking his birthday is like this weekend, right? So before I'm seeing him this particular moment, I Cash Apped him. I ended up Cash Apping him before because I asked him if he had any cash on him and if he could spend the money on me to get something in particular while he was already in the middle of buying some stuff. And he was like, yeah. And so I ended up Cash Apping him. So since I still had his Cash App, you know, in my app or whatever, child, I ended up Cash Apping him a couple of dollars today. And so I saw somebody who usually stops and talks to him every day that he's at work. And I told the guy, I was like, hey, if you see him before I do, can you tell him to check his Cash App? I didn't tell him why. He was like, yeah, okay. So then I asked him before I told him about the Cash App. I said, did you see old boy? And he was like, who you talking about? And I told him. He was like, oh, no, I ain't seen him yet. I was like, oh, well, I saw him and I told him that if you see him first, to tell you to check your Cash App. And so I was like, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to give you like a little peace offering and whatnot because you said you worked on your birthday and you know it is what it is. He was like, oh no, you didn't have to do all that. I was like, no, man, because my job be trying the good people. Like the recognition that I told y'all I got where everything equates to money, he don't even have enough to even buy nothing. He be setting it off at work. And so I straight up told him, like last week, I said, you a lie. I know you got a lot of them. I know you do. You do too much around here to not have a lot of them. You ain't making sense to me. So he was like, no, I really don't. I ain't got that. I was like, you a lie. And he pulled it up and he didn't have nothing. He had one. I'm like, how you got one? The one I just got the other day, I got 100 more points than what he has. And his points barely equate to anything. And I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. So I told him they don't appreciate you. Like, just take it as a thank you for you actually doing what you're supposed to do, because you be going above and beyond. He was like, oh, well, thank you. I talked to my mama and I told her that, I might quit. And then I asked her if she thinks I should quit. And she was like, do whatever you feel like you might need to do, but try to hang in there and all this other stuff, because it's like you're not being appreciated. They want to work the mule out of you. And it's like you're just another body to them. That ain't cool. And so, I tell him all the time how much I appreciate him. I don't know who else does, but everybody say stuff to him, but it's like y'all are not showing it, because you need to put that money where your mouth is, so he can get him some, so he can see. Because like I told y'all before, I don't care nothing about the stuff they talking about. Oh, y'all getting what is it called? A pancake breakfast. I don't want that. Ever since I've been there, they've been trying to do like an annual pancake breakfast. I ain't want it last year. I don't want it this year. They did some kind of appreciation a couple of weeks ago where they had hot dogs and hamburgers. They could have kept that and gave me the money. Goodbye. I don't care nothing about that. Y'all getting a tax write-off for all these food trucks y'all have coming out there from time to time and all this other stuff. I don't care nothing about it. Run me the money. Straight up. I don't care nothing about that. I need the money, honey. Ain't nobody got time for that. Y'all want to work the mule out of me and be like, well, we're giving you the money because we're giving you this overtime that you don't want. That's the point. I don't want this. Leave me alone. So anyway, child, I just be like, please understand. I ain't got time for this. So then we get to talking even more. I ain't thinking we gonna talk like this. So we talking and talking. So then we get to talking about content creation, because he was talking about his friend need to start an OnlyFans. I was like, I was kind of scared to ask what about, but it really was about that. And so I was like, oh. He was like, well, he whipping it out and doing it for free. Might as well get paid for it. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So I was like, well, I'm over here indulging in the conversation. I'm like, well, why don't you be the cameraman? Because he was like, well, I already told him that I would set up everything, but I ain't trying to be there. So I'm over here, stoking the fire. I was like, hey, why don't you be the cameraman? Because, you'll get a good cut. I was like, oh, yeah. Do you know how to edit stuff? He was like, nah, but I can go on YouTube and figure it out. I was like, okay. So if you do all of that, you end up getting a bigger percentage of the cut. So he was like, man, this is my idea. I need to get a bigger percentage of the cut anyway. So we started laughing. He told my dad. So we were talking about content creating as far as a person who is like on Twitch and all this other stuff. And I told him, I was like, oh, I live for it. Like I told y'all before about T-Pain, he gets bank. Like, he ain't got to do a tour. He ain't got to sing a song. He ain't got to get none of the money from spins, royalties, or nothing else in life, because them streams that he get on Twitch alone, he can sit up there and stream one time a month and be set pretty much for life. That's how poppin' his Twitch is. Twitch is everything. And so old boy was like, yeah, I told my mama about it. And so she was like, you can get paid for playing video games? And I was like, it's crazy, right? Like, a lot of people, and I said, I really wish that I knew about all of that and the seriousness of it. And as far as the platforms are concerned, when it first really started taking off, because I would have taken it a lot more serious, because it's like, oh, y'all don't be understanding. Like, I really enjoyed myself when I went to that gaming convention in Raleigh, North Carolina. But the fact that I was sitting there, I was in the room with the top players in the world of like all the games that they had there. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. It was like, I really was standing there like, it was so amazing. If y'all have ever seen, excuse me, if y'all have ever seen regular gaming controllers, yeah, the people who were like the top ones in the world, they came to Raleigh, North Carolina. So I mean, the people who were in China and all of that, they came to Raleigh, North Carolina for that gaming convention. And they had like this big old joystick and a pad, and I was just like, oh my gosh, how are they doing these combos? Like, it was amazing. And I'm like, oh no. As soon as I would have tried to hit X to try to kick or do anything, I would have been dead. I wouldn't have got no hit in. It would have been perfect on their end. It would have been crazy. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, depending on what the game is, if you are great at it, you need to get that money when it comes to that. But yeah, I'm not good enough for all of that. I'm really not. I would have to do something that's like a local situation. I'm not good enough to do no world type of a situation of the world. Like, oh my gosh, I wish. When I tell y'all them prizes, it wasn't no $1,000 prize. It was not like the Shy. It was bigger, way bigger prizes. I'm talking about, you pretty much set for life if you go from competition to competition. That competition by itself, I think if I would have won, like let's say I was the top one in the world, I would have been able to buy a house, buy a car, I'm just in a nice neighborhood, brand new, off the lot, ain't never been drove kind of car. I'm talking about, that's the kind of money that them people be pulling in. I was like, wait a minute now. So, yeah, we were talking about that for a good little while. We were talking about the game that's about to come out, because I was wondering if he is a Call of Duty player, and he is, but he says he sucks, but he don't mind playing with his friends, but he says, I'm going to be an assist because I already know I'm trash. And he know how it go. And so I was asking if he watches certain content creators like RDC World, or whatever it is, Caleb City, Daquan Wiltshire, people like that. Daquan, and I was talking to him for a long time about Daquan Wiltshire, and he was amazed. I was like, man, he was like, I think I've seen some stuff of his. I'm like, man, if you have, you need to look it up. I told him I used to religiously watch him. I would watch him when he would go live on YouTube. And I'm talking about, this has been like less than a year ago. He wanted a gaming PC because people kept saying, oh, we want you to do this. We want you to do this content-wise. And so he'd be like, oh, well, I will. Y'all know I got kids. I got child support. I'm not with the baby mama no more. I got this going on, whatever. He ain't broke by any means or whatever, but he was just like, I know I got to be smart with my money. It was some man that would always come in the chat and drop $100 here, $100 there. I'm talking about over $1,000 or over $2,000 every time that man went live. Every couple of minutes he would drop $100 and the money would stay. This wasn't a situation where he was showing off and then all of a sudden he would just stop contributing and then like go and fight the charges or whatever. No, this money stayed. So that particular live stream, with his money combined with the other people who were dropping 25 here, 5 there, 50 there, and all this, he got the computer and everything that he could have wanted to go with the computer. Like, top of the line, all of that. Thousands of dollars. He wanted a computer that was like $5,000 to $10,000, and he got it from that one stream. And I'm just like, child, this person got blacked out windows. I don't be liking that. And they've been sitting there this whole time watching me. Anyway, I'm going to ignore them. But anyway, like I'm just saying, this man, it's so crazy because you will sit there and watch him. Like, I would get the notification that he went live. I'm like, all right, let me go on YouTube, see what he talking about. He be like, hey, y'all, what's going on? Whatever. I ain't talking about nothing yet. He letting the room get filled up. Them people dropping money off rip just because he showed his face. And so he'll try to say thank you for your support, whatever. He'll be like, oh, y'all, I got an announcement to make, or I want to talk about this or whatever. Before he even gets to the topic, them people dropping money. I used to just be like, oh my gosh, people be in the chat like, yeah, Lee, wait a minute. Like setting it off. This man hadn't said nothing. He has done nothing. No content has happened yet. And these people dropping money. The rent has been paid. Any bills that he had have already been paid before he ever even starts to do his content. I just be like, oh my, God. I want to be on that. I want to be on half of that level. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, Lord have mercy. I'm talking about the people be living. I'm talking, and he has viewers all over the world. And he is from Virginia. It's crazy. So anyway, y'all, yeah, we were talking about content creating and all this other stuff because he was like, if he did quit or he got fired or whatever, he was thinking about that, but he doesn't think he's good enough to do content creating like that. And I was just like, hey, it is what it is. Like, you have to, like I told him, if you ain't somebody like T-Pain, I'm not going to sit there for hours and watch you stream nothing. I'm not watching you play games. I'm not going to watch you talk. I'm not going to watch you do nothing. And I understand, I don't be talking about nothing. But I'm saying T-Pain really can be sitting there jibber jabbering, and he is so hilarious. He keeps my attention when I do watch him. I'm just saying, like, to me, he is one of the best examples of, I understand why these people be paying your bills at this point. I understand why these people be paying money to see you. Oh, man, what else happened? But, yeah, we talked for like a good hour. Even though he was in the new department, something happened, something broke back there, and, like, he was like, oh, they're probably doing this by now. Let me go back there. We really talked for like an hour, like it was crazy. But, he was appreciative for the birthday money. What else? I feel like I'm leaving one thing out. I don't remember what it is right now. But yeah, y'all, I had an amazing day. Let's just pray that I don't have to deal with the side heifer tomorrow, even though we got to work together. I just be like, golly. Man, I found out on accident that one of these heifers going to another shift. She said, well, I hadn't seen her. That's why. They had her in the new department, and I've been upstairs, so our paths haven't crossed. The woman who I keep saying to y'all has social anxiety, or she's socially awkward, rather. And she ain't said nothing to me, and she's supposed to start her new schedule soon. And I'm just like, oh my God, wait a minute. This is too much. This is really too much. What else? I think that's it, y'all. I can't think of nothing else right now. But anyway, thank y'all for holding it down. All that good stuff. I'll see y'all later on. Bye.